yes, I am truly this large. It's not just the cameras. And thank God for it, because I think organized labor has tried to climb over my back about 150 times since I've taken this role with AFP. But let me start off by saying sincere thank you to Leah. There is no greater champion of free markets and freedom than Senator Hilgemann. Thank you. And thank you to the tremendous partnership that we've had with ALEC. Lisa, you and your group are instrumental in what we do in the States. Thank you for everything you guys have done. I'm here to give you a story of optimism. I have the distinct honor and pleasure to lead the Americans for Prosperity team, which has grown now to over 700 staff in 35 states all across the country, powered by the heartbeat of who we are, which is 2.8 million grassroots activists across the country who believe in the principles of freedom, who are out there every day advancing those ideas to their neighbors, their friends, and throughout the communities across the country. And it's working. As you guys saw in that video, we have made more progress on right to work and labor reform in the states in the past 5 years than we did in the previous 50 years combined. That's amazing. But it takes courage. It takes courage from all of you in this room who've been elected to public office to take on these battles. As you've seen, organized labor is not our friend when it comes to these fights. I had the opportunity, as Leah said, to live through this as a staffer in the Capitol in Madison. In 2011, we were swept into the majority, and we had 30 bold, newly elected members of our state assembly caucus who came to Madison to truly make a difference. And I know there's multiple members of that caucus in here today, so I just want to say thank you to you guys for giving us what we were able to accomplish there. And these folks, I was chief of staff for the majority leader, and they came into our office every day. The first 60 days we were there, it was always, what are we doing to be more bold? When are we going to get to the real promise that we made to the voters of this state to change the direction of Wisconsin? My answer was always the same. Hold on, something's coming, it's going to be big. And it was. When Governor Walker walked into our caucus and asked us to join him in taking on organized labor and passing what became Act 10, there was a lot of fear, quite honestly. Right? But what happened throughout the next 60 days of that fight is truly one of the most inspirational moments of my life, my career. Because those people came together like nothing I've ever seen before. Our lives were constantly threatened. Our families were exposed to some of the most vile tactics you could ever want to see. And they stayed with it. They had the courage to follow through on the commitment that they made to taxpayers in Wisconsin for a new direction. And it worked. I remember sitting in the caucus room after we had gone through about 40 hours of debate. And there was a moment that I'll never forget this, that the individual members that I talked about stood up, and each one of them went through their story for why they actually came to Madison to make a difference. And there was a theme throughout that entire moment. And it was they came there to make a difference. And they didn't care about the results of the next election. They didn't care about their political career. They cared about making a difference. And we went back out there, right? Hundreds of thousands of protesters surrounding our Capitol building. The state police came in multiple times and told us, we can't guarantee your security. And we said, we don't care. We're here to do a job for the taxpayers and citizens of Wisconsin, and we did it. After 65 hours of debate, we passed Act 10, went on to the governor's desk. He signed it into law. They had to rush us out of the Capitol building in buses going 15 different directions because they were afraid that organized labor was going to track our members back to their houses and their homes. But we did it, and it's working. Leah shared the statistic about Wisconsin rising when it comes to the economic parameters that they look at here at ALEC. Here's a couple of other statistics. Because of that one policy decision in my home state of Wisconsin, taxpayers have saved over $5 billion. That's $2,000 for the average family in Wisconsin. Here's another statistic, and God, I love sharing this one every time I get the chance to go back to Wisconsin. Americans for Prosperity now has more members than the state government union and the state teachers union combined. And it all started with this: giving people the right to choose. What are you so afraid of? Organized labor, you're about choice. You're about freedom. But not on this one. It makes them compete. It makes them come to the table and actually offer services that their members want and need and deserve. And in the state of Indiana, right? I shared the statistic about union numbers declining in Wisconsin. Unions are actually growing in Indiana. But it's because we forced them to become more competitive. We forced them to actually offer services that their members want. And that's a very good thing. I'm going to close with this. It takes courage. It takes commitment. It takes leadership. But above all, guys and gals, it takes the will to get it done. And freedom is on the march like it's never been before in this country. Despite all of the headlines that everybody reads in their morning paper about the national election and what's coming up this fall, what I encourage our staff, our activists to look at is what's happening in the states. If you want to take a look at what's happening, where we are making our biggest difference as a movement, as a cause for freedom, it's happening in the states. And it's because of all of you. So thank you for what you're doing. Do not lose hope. Don't back down. Here's the other part of this. I've heard a lot of things from people all across the country. I'm in 4 states this week. I'm in 5 states next week. I love getting out there and working with our activists, talking to our real people about these issues. And they are with us. Americans for Prosperity just this year has made over 20 million voter contacts. 1.5 million completed conversations with taxpayers from all walks of life. And the one thing that comes through more often than not is they want government to get out of the way. That's what you all are doing every day. So don't back down, don't be intimidated, and don't give up on the good progress that we've made all across the country on these issues. Thank you for everything that you're doing. We look forward to continuing to work with all of you. Appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.